Hello, and welcome to the Badhumanist look at Hunter. So in this video, I'm just going to be doing a broad overview of my thoughts of the overall class of Hunter. I've already done a spec-by-spec analysis for Hunter in my other videos. They will be linked down in the description below. In this one, I'm going to be focusing more on what it feels like to be a Hunter as a class. So again, focusing more on the overall class archetypes, focusing more on overall class utility. Again, not going to be focusing on individual spec damage or things like that, but more a sense of if you're playing a Hunter, will you be able to have fun, enjoy, and have engaging gameplay in Battle for Azeroth. So starting off again, to make very clear, I do think that this expansion is going to be a lot easier to play multiple specs. Again, with the lack of legendaries, with the lack of the artifact weapons, it's going to be, I hope, a lot easier to play multiple specs inside of a class and have them be more competitive with one another. Now, things such as the Azerite gear might hurt that to a bit. Of course, things like different stat priorities might again have some effect on that as well. But basically at large, I think that it's not going to be nearly as bad as what we saw in Legion. So, moving past that point, talking about Hunter. Overall, I think Hunter feels really good. I think that it has the different kind of gameplay styles that you would like. I know a lot of people are going to be very divided over survival. Again, I can agree with you that I wish survival wasn't a melee. I think survival's play style is very engaging, very fun. For me, I played Hunter mainly in Kata and in Wrath of the Lich King. That's the kind of idea that I have in my mind when it comes to Hunter. And survival was always a spec in those times, specifically in Cataclysm, where it was all about this kind of very quick 6-second rotation with explosion shot and weaving things in. So it was a lot of kind of upkeep. It felt fast, it felt engaging, and it still feels that way. Now, it is a melee spec, of course, but again, with things like Wildfire Bomb, multi-charges of Kill Command, Raptor Strike, it feels good. It feels like you're juggling a lot of plates, not nearly as many as we were juggling previously in Legion, however, but it feels good. Now, the fact that it is a melee spec, however, I think is really going to hurt it. Even if it's competitive, even if it does good DPS, just the fact that you can only have finite number of melee slots available and the overall utility that the Hunter is bringing might keep it. Again, when you have specs like Rogue, which are so valuable, Warrior, Death Knight, Demon Hunter, where you have all these Paladin, all these other kind of specs that have a lot of melee classes, and you can only normally have so many. We've seen in the past that boss design can really keep it so that having too many melee is a problem, or at least make it more difficult. So again, I really do think that it's one of those things where I wish it wasn't. What I really wish is that they would make it more of a true hybrid, something like this basically. Make all your abilities 20-yard range, right? So you can't be way out there, right? You can't be out there 40 yards away. You have to be close by. You can keep the traps, so again, they kind of is wanting you to be close by and close in the air to everything else. And have it that work that way, right? Have Raptor Strike instead of being Raptor Strike be something like Eagle Strike, and again, just like when you turn on Aspect of the Eagle and you throw those hawks at people, just have that be the ability, right? You can do the entire rotation from 20 yards. You can be melee if you would like. So again, on fights or cases where again melee is there, it would be helpful. Again, it's kind of similar to the way that kind of Holy Paladins were, right? Where they were always close by to help benefit from their mastery. That would have been really nice. It's something that I would have liked to have seen. But again, it's not there. That being said, the playstyle is fun. So it's going to be a shame if we end up not playing survival just because it is melee. Again, we're already at a lack of range specs in my opinion to begin with. They keep adding melee specs. I wish that they would have kept survival as range. Marksman, I think, is great. It really reminds me of a kind of more mobile Marksman. I think it's what Marksman should have been in Legion. The vulnerable window was interesting, but again, I just think that it was too min-maxing. Again, you shouldn't need a weak aura. I'm a huge fan of weak auras, by the way, but you shouldn't need a weak aura to be min-maxing your DPS, and that really was the case, what you needed with vulnerable. With that gone, I think the spec is still very fun, very engaging. It hits hard. It has a lot of interesting AoE burst abilities. I find the gameplay to be very engaging. It's fun to level with. It's probably going to be fun for Mythic Plus. It's going to be fun for rating. And again, if the numbers are there, it's going to be a very competitive, and I think a lot of hunters will like it. BM is BM, right? It's what I think BM people want. It has the unlimited mobility, which is super nice. It has the pet kind of class fantasy, quote unquote, and I feel as if this iteration is slightly better than the previous simply because the barb shot change. I do think the barb shot change is a change for the better. I think that feeling more engaged with your pet, even though your pet is still doing 60 to 70, 80% of your damage, the fact that you feel like you're commanding it, right? Barb shot, something that you are doing. You're not just yelling at your pet, go faster. So having kill command, having barb shot, having abilities that are basically you engaging with your pet, I do think is better than what we saw previously. However, and I've mentioned this in my BM video, BM just needs something else. I think this can be fixed very easily. I think there's a very easy and reasonable fix, and it really is just a talent change. I just think something as simple, and again, I'll even kind of switch over to show what I was talking about, but I simply think that switching from a couple talents around might be enough to help. So a couple options, Dire Beast. Make this like Barb Shot, right? Make it a reduced by haste recharge. You can keep it at 15 seconds even, but have it be a reduced by haste recharge and have multiple charges, right? Be able to get multiple beasts out and maybe have something else that can trigger its reset, right? So again, just like you can get a chance to reset Barb Shot, maybe again you have an even smaller chance or something to reset Dire Beast. That would at least make this talent a bit more interesting, more engaging. Right now, it doesn't do a lot of damage. It costs focus, and you hit a button every 15 seconds, and your pet's there. It does synergize with Stomp, sure. It feels lackluster. It doesn't feel engaging. Another option, Chimera Shot. Chimera Shot to me is a hunter ability that it's so sad to see gone by the wayside. From being one of the core abilities with Aim Shot together in Marksman, I'm perfectly fine with them moving it away from Marksman. Again, I think that having Aim Shot being the focus of Marksman is a good change. I just think that not having Chimera Shot be an ability you're using is a shame. And honestly, even in its current iteration, it does decent single target damage, right? If you took the talent, you would use it in the rotation. The problem is that it's competing with one with the pack, a talent that is just too valuable for that reset on Dire Frenzy. Now, possibly, if we can get enough hit and crit, if we can get enough crit and haste to not need this increased chance to reset Dire Frenzy on the wild call, then maybe this talent would make it better, right? If you already could manage to keep up, 99% uptime on your Frenzy, and if you take the talent Thrill of the Hunt, because of the resets you get from crit and because of the haste reducing the recharge rate on the Barb Shot, if you can do that without this, then maybe Chimera Shot becomes better. I personally think Center of Blood is not going to be good ever. We don't just need the focus, really. But then maybe Chimera Shot's better because this isn't actually helping your DPS anymore because you're already maintaining 100% uptime on Barb Shot. So that's another option, right? Either it might be possible that Chimera Shot will be taken anyway. If not, move it, right? Make it not compete with one with the pack. Maybe balance out one with the pack. Make it just baseline, right? Wild Call's already there. Increasing the chance is already very valuable, so just cut the difference, right? Make it a standard, 40% or something. Get rid of this talent, put something else in. But I think that either A, make Chimera Shot baseline, which I think is honestly the best option, because we just need another button, right? BM has basically 4 buttons. Murder Crows might be taken, sure. Stampede Barrage might be taken. Spitting Cobra I don't think will be taken ever. So there's other options, but these aren't engaging. They're not things you're hitting on a regular basis. Chimera Shot would be. It again will add in some haste synergy. Again, you already kind of have that with Kill Command and Barb Shot, so you have this real sense of haste being a valuable thing. And again, it'll give you a passive ability to kind of cleave for certain kind of cleave damage, and even single target. I think that maybe it does 1.5 times damage if it only hits 1 or something like that. I don't know, but just adding another ability. BM needs something else to do. Even if it does great damage, even if it's the top DPS spec, it will be boring. That is not fun. So that's, I think, the biggest thing that BM needs to get changed, to have changed, is that it needs something else to do. It needs some other button to hit, something to kind of keep you engaged. Dire Frenzy, or again, the Barb Shot, which procs Dire Frenzy, is not enough. So all in all, again, I do think Hunter is going to be a good spec. I guarantee you, at any time, probably one of the three will be viable for both Mythic Plus and for rating. I would actually love it if the Mythic Plus spec was not the same as the rating spec. I think it'd be really cool if, for example, like Survival was the best thing for Mythic Plus, and maybe Marksman was the best thing for rating. That'd be kind of cool, to where you're kind of having different play styles depending on what you're doing. Again, who knows if that will happen or not. But something like that, something engaging like that, I think would be nice. I really hope that they add something to BM. Right? I hope that they do something to make BM not just this stereotypical like 3-button spec. Right? That just is not engaging. I know some people like the simplicity. I know some people like the unlimited mobility, which I think is still a great value. But it needs something else, right? It needs a little bit more to make it a complete spec, and I think that mixed in with Survival being a melee might hurt it. It might just be that you can't take Survival because it's melee, and there's too many melee in your raid, and so you have to play a range spec, and even if BM is better, you just get so bored of it that you want to play Marksman. So it might just be that Hunter spec was Marksman, and that would be a shame. I really want to see in this expansion when there's a possibility to where, you really can maybe play all 3 specs and have them all viable at the same time, gear-wise and power-wise. It would really be nice if we weren't held back because of something like a boring spec for BM, or the fact that Survival is a melee, and the fact that you're playing a Hunter and you're playing melee. People are like, why are you doing that? So those are my thoughts. Again, if you have any other thoughts you want to add in, what your own thoughts are on Hunter as a whole class, please leave them down in the comments below. Again, if you like what I said and you want to hear more, hit that like button. Again, if you disagree with what I said, go ahead and hit that dislike button. Please subscribe if you want some future videos. Again, I'm going to be going through every single class here on the BfA beta, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.